Greetings. Welcome to ITR Live. I'm your host, Chris Hagenow. We are back here at Studio 130 for another fun-filled, action-packed episode of Iowa's premier conservative podcast. I am joined here in studio today with everyone's favorite John Hendrickson and a first-time special guest. Do you like the laugh track, John?
I do, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I hit that by accident. Sorry. Anyway, but we have a special guest here today. We have State Representative Bill Gustoff with us. So welcome, Bill.
Thanks. Good to be here. I'm glad the laughter's at John, not me.
Yeah, no. You hit that button and it just keeps going for like it's really awkward. Anyway, so we're very honored to have Representative Gustoff here today. It's really hard for me to call you that. I just want you to know.
You can call me Bill, please.
Yeah, good. Well, all right, good, because that's much easier for me. So for full disclosure, Bill and I are also longtime law partners as well. So it's why it's exceptionally difficult. Anyway, so there's a couple of different reasons why we have Bill here today. Is one, he came in the office to talk with us about property taxes for a while, just wants to know a little bit more. And we're always here ready to serve. Was it helpful?
Yes, my brain is a bit numb, but it's very helpful. Yeah.
If talking about Iowa property taxes doesn't numb your brain a little bit, then there's something wrong with you. Also, though, we had a kind of a trivia question in a recent episode, though. And what time does Matlock come on?
9 a.m. weekdays.
9 a.m. weekdays. I'm a little more troubled by the fact that anyone knows the answer to that. But I also learned today in our pre-production meeting that, that after John gets done watching the Channel 8 news, that you don't watch the whole episode. You skip the sports.
I skip the sports and then go to MASH.
Go to MASH.
Yeah, on MeTV.
Yeah. So how much? So you're only getting like the last 10 minutes of MASH though, right?
Yeah, but then another episode I think comes on.
So you're getting When I remember when I was younger, you always had back-to-back MASH episodes.
Because I quit watching the CBS Evening News. It's just too liberal.
Yeah. As opposed to the bastion of conservative news, which is the KCCI Evening News.
I just want to try to be informed on local issues.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. All right. Well.
We appreciate your penance.
Yeah.
So, okay. Bill, I want to come back around. So you, since you're our special guest, we got to feature you for a little while, but you just finished your first year in the legislature.
Yes. And
how was it?
It was somewhat what I expected, but it was harder to keep up with my citizen legislature aspect than I expected to.
No, that's true. Tell our folks a little bit of your background and how that led you to the legislature.
Sure. So I'm a simple country attorney who likes to apply my skills and training to things that make a difference. So when we moved here, 2006, that was one of our ideas, was getting involved in things. So I got involved with Homeschool Iowa, Network of Iowa Christian Home Educators at that time. That's how I met certain legislators like Representative Hagenow. And that's how we met. And so I've been involved a long time in party politics and issues that I care about and those sorts of things. And even our firm was founded with the idea of making a difference on those kinds of things. So I've always eyed the idea of whether I'd run for office or not. Timing was never matching with opportunities. And we just thought, well, maybe it's not our path. And then a new open seat with redistricting opened up. That's how I got involved to make it, try to make a difference. And I think we made a difference this year. We shifted the landscape on a lot of things. Education's going to look different in Iowa. I got to tell you that the pleasure I took that the first policy bill I got to cast my vote on, the Students First Act, something I've been working on the concept for over a decade. Yeah. That was great.
Yeah. No, it had to be gratifying to, after all that time kind of being around the Capitol and following it, and then just thrust right into it and here in one of these major landmark conservative bills. So, you've been, a lot of folks come into the legislature and really it's their first experience with any of it. And it can take several weeks before you even learn, where the coffee is at and, how to check your mail and all that. But you hit the ground running and knew what to do, which is great. So, what other bills did you work on specifically this year that were sort of, what was your charge?
I was entrusted with the commercial vehicle tort reform bill. That was pretty,
tort.
Yeah, that was an honor. Being a freshman and being entrusted with a bill like that, and so we worked out a compromise that I think was a good compromise. In fact, the Truckers Association tells me that they're hearing from other states that it'll become a model bill for other states in the country. So that was big. I think a big one. I always talk at forums and I say I get entrusted with the geeky lawyer stuff. So it doesn't make headlines. It's not sexy. They're exciting. So guardianship conservatorship, which has been a fight going on. As you'll know, Chris.
I remember speaking at the kickoff meeting for that. Maybe is 8 to 10 years ago now. No, maybe not quite that long, but it's been a while.
I think it was about 8 years ago
that
it started, and then 2018 is when they passed the big reform bill, 18 or 19.
Yeah.
And so still issues to clean up on it. Very disparate sides. We were so close, and it just barely didn't make it through the second funnel. So we're going to do that. I apply my trade to it. I helped. We are now joining the states that allow remote signing of witnessing of wills, not electronic signing, but
right.
So I rewrote that bill. Little things like that.
And you're humble on this, but truly one of Iowa's leading attorneys on trust and estates. I mean, that's objectively true.
You're kind of it. So,
no, you are, and have worked in this area across the country, and some things, and I say that one that I think the people of Iowa should have confidence with you at the helm trying to figure this piece out, but also it's just the value of a citizen legislature is that you get people that come to the Capitol that actually know different things. You're not going to get 150 legislators with experience in, executing wills, but you have one, and that person can share their experiences. And so it's a good thing.
Yeah. And I did value the experience of others up there. That's one quick lesson was I quickly learned the things I didn't know.
Right.
And who to go to get answers on those things among my colleagues. That was great.
No, that's right. Well, good. So you're going to come back next year? You're planning on,
it's a 2-year term.
I understand that, but it wasn't so miserable that you're just like, I can't handle this.
No, like everything I've seen up there, every year the legislators are ready for session to end.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm also going to get back at it and help.
I've always likened it to a school year, and you're a kid. And your first day of school, you're excited to go see all your friends. You got your new clothes on. You're ready to go. And then by the end of the school year, you're like, "Get me out of here! I don't care." You're, it's. But by the time summer's over, you'll be ready to get back at it.
Good analogy. And we're already diving into things, and I'll be doing some doors and such this summer as well.
Yeah. You got to fill me in, guys. John, what you guys were talking about something. Some piece of history or something coming in. You guys found common ground on something. What was the conversation you guys were?
Well, Bill was sharing some books that he was able to come across that have a lot of important implications on world history.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't know if you wanted to share a little bit about that, but
sure. Yeah. My undergrad, I'd gone to George Washington University in D.C. I was a young conservative intent on studying international affairs in the Soviet Union to go fight communism behind what was then the Iron Curtain. So if I'd followed my path, I would have been in Romania working with CIA, undermining Ceausescu. But as part of that curriculum, I had to read Marx and Lenin and all that. So I understood human nature back then, and I was one of the few people laughing while reading it, that they didn't understand human nature. But I have original produced volumes of books. The writings of Marx and the writings of Lenin, 3-volume sets each, produced in the Soviet Union. And my wife always wonders she used to ask, why do you keep those? I said, because they're just historic and a testament to how poorly things are manufactured under a communist system. They're just, I should show them to you sometime.
Yeah, I think I've heard you mention them, but I've never heard the whole, that's really cool.
Yeah, I just kept them because, even the stamp on the front, like the title, they're in different spots on the different volumes, books within the same volume. It's just, they're crappy material, which shows exactly the product you get out of a socialist system.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you have any Hoover memorabilia?
I don't have any Hoover. I might have some medallion I got when I visited the Hoover Museum on my 6th grade field trip.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, okay. Well, that's a good introduction. So, it seems to me that most of the conversation here in Iowa right now is around presidential politics and the caucuses. And both of you had a chance to be a part of a caucus campaign event this week. So I kind of want to go to each of you and get your perspectives on it. So, John, I'll let you start because you've been sitting there patiently for a while. Where did you go this week?
I went to the Westside Conservative Club, hosted President Trump on Thursday. So it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And that was exciting because for me, it was the first time I've ever seen in person a sitting or a former president.
Yeah.
And so I'm not yet decided yet on who to support in the caucuses, but I thought it was a really neat event, and
Yeah.
I thought President Trump actually did a good job with connecting with the crowd. And it was at the Machine Shed in Urbandale, and it was really a full house. In fact, we were there over an hour early, and we still barely got in to get a seat.
Yeah.
But when the president came in, he was very cordial in greeting people, and I mean there was just a lot of energy in the room from those who were in attendance, and I thought his remarks were good. He hit on some really important points. Which I think I think some of the top issues nationally, immigration one, and trade is another one he touched on, and then on some foreign policy. I think those are two significant issues he spoke on. But and then he took questions from the audience. And
Did you get one in?
I wanted to. I wanted to ask about his plan on the trade deficit, but I didn't get a chance to. And
That's your one question. You're going to go trade deficit on.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So, but I
Jones
was
Act or anything.
Well, I'd like to ask about that.
Well, that's what I want to know, John. Like, what?
That would be another good program we could do. The Jones Act.
Yeah. We got a lot of planned episodes that we still have yet to actually do, but we do a whole episode.
But it was exciting. I mean, it was. I've always heard that Trump rallies are fun, and they are. I mean, there was a lot of nice people there, and got to sit with people from my church, and so I really. But for me, it was exciting just to see, a president up close, and so that was worth it.
Only, let's say, I've been to events with George W. Bush, and I actually went to a Bill Clinton event when I was in law school, just because it was the president, and a friend of mine had some tickets up close, and he was a connected Democrat, and we did. And it was, look, it's the president, so But
we'll let you keep your conservative creds card.
That's right. I've been working, 30 years to try and win back my credibility after that one. But
and I was able to get a sign for my collection. So
yeah. Well, and I got to say, okay, so there probably won't be that many, unless you've worked on a campaign or been a candidate, you'll appreciate this. And I've been talking about it all day. So John's got a Trump sign that he brought in. When you go to these events, you take a sign away. And I showed Bill this, and he's nodding already. So the kind of the standard issue political yard sign in Iowa is the plastic corrugated sign material, and then a stake with some medium gauge wire that sort of sticks through it, and you stick it in the ground. If you've had a sign in your front yard, you kind of know what I'm talking about. And it's thin enough that you can put it in the ground. This stake that this Trump sign on is something else. I don't know if he's like trying to prove the value of American steel or not, but it is.
Never seen it before.
I mean, it's not. It's probably 3/8 of an inch of just the stake. It is. I don't know how you drive this thing into the ground. It's something else. You'd have to almost have to drill holes to get this thing in the ground. It's amazing.
That to me just it's a salute to his steel tariff policy
I
and
guess
the quality products coming. And
America's going to be the land of plenty. When we So anyway, it's just an amazing piece of campaign architecture. So anyway,
and it was a colorful event too, because and I'm sure this happens, but a Ron DeSantis bus showed up and honked the horn as we were waiting outside, and then there was people from his campaign that did a literature drop on windshields, and then there was another Ron DeSantis van type thing that had this big sign on it that
You haven't gone full caucus campaign silly season until there's people in like weird animal outfits and you know, standing out front of the event, like causing a scene. That we'll get there, I'm sure.
That's all I always liked about watching. Growing up, I'd watch the national conventions on TV, and you'd see the people in their colorful costumes, and you know, you'd see these people with the elephant hats on, all kinds of pins. And,
So, also yesterday, or no, it was earlier in the week. What night was it? We had Ron DeSantis. Tuesday. So I want to go to you, Bill. So you were at the DeSantis event, and tell us, you know, Governor DeSantis and where you're at with that.
Yeah, it was a church over there in Urbandale, and big turnout. I think 500 or 600 people there, overflow crowd. So it was a lot of energy. He did a great job. It was a long speech, very long speech, but it was not one of those. I didn't find myself like wishing like hurry up and get over with. And part of it's he's got a long record of a lot of things that he's accomplished. So so it was a good lot of energy there. Their photographer got this great photo of me that got on Twitter, so that was kind of fun. But
well, and here's the shameless plug. We got to get Bill some value for coming in here on the podcast. Go to his Facebook and like the Facebook. So you need to get in on there. But and Bill, you do a good job with your social media. But it is really a tremendous picture of. But go to, is it State Representative Bill Gustoff on there? Or
Bill Gustoff for Iowa.
Bill Gustoff for Iowa. There you go. But you should go because it's a really cool picture. One that goes on your shelf of keepsakes from along the way. But
and it's a good photographer. As I said, if he can even make me look good, that was a good photographer.
Well, I think any other takeaways from that event? I mean, I know there's a lot of endorsers early for Governor DeSantis, and I mean, did it have that kind of energy behind it?
Yeah, it was a lot of energy. It was very exciting, and I'm one of those endorsers. In the interest of fair disclosure too. I like all of our candidates. I think we have a great choice among candidates. So
spoken like a former state party central committee member.
They're all good. Yeah, they're all good candidates. I'll support the nominee. But there was a lot of energy there. A lot of good people to see there. And one takeaway from that too is his wife Casey DeSantis. She's formidable in her own right.
I have heard that from many different people that she really is a rock star.
Yeah.
That people really, really like her a lot. Well, that's great. Look, I'm just an aficionado of the caucuses. I love all of it, and I hope to get out to some of these events. But it's at 500 people or crowded machine shed restaurant, it's a little harder to get front row seat. But I'm a spoiled Iowan that thinks I ought to get a private meeting with every presidential candidate, and that's probably unrealistic. But it's just going to be a blast. So very exciting. Did you get a yard sign? Were they giving out yard signs?
I did not get one. I don't know if they came out there or not. I was part of this crowd where I was supposed to be seated in a certain spot, and then part of the backdrop for a press conference. So I was just going where I was ushered.
That's good. That's good.
I need to get a DeSantis sign for my collection.
We'll get you that. Yeah. That should be easily achievable. But John's not joking. Your collection of presidential memorabilia and campaign stuff is second to none.
Yeah, it's growing. Yep.
And okay. So at some point we joke. John still thinks we're joking about this, Bill, but we are going to create the Hendrickson Library here. And, someday in the future, and it comes, to be fair, after we get a full-blown dedicated podcast studio, then we'll move on to, actually, my vision is we could kind of have a combo. We could actually broadcast live from the Hendrickson Library. I'm not kidding. We can dream. So anyway, we'll get that, and people can come in and marvel at all the stuff you have. It'd be great. So good. All right. How did it go, Bill? Did you enjoy the podcast?
I think, I enjoyed it. Hope you did.
You've probably done harder radio interviews in your day.
Yes, true.
Okay.
Definitely
well, good.
True.
Come in here and talk about yourself and all the fun things you do. Yeah. That's hard hitting stuff. I know. So, well, anyway, I'm glad you're in the legislature, and I think you're doing a great
just
job.
want to say one thing about that, because I went to visit my parents over Memorial Day. They live in Minnesota, and just listening to what that legislature did this session and their governor, just made me so much more appreciate what was going on in Iowa, because
that's right.
I mean, Minnesota has done some radical stuff. I mean, from the cultural perspective and from the economic perspective, it made me thankful for Governor Reynolds and legislators like Bill, because, I mean, you're defending the family, you're defending the taxpayer, and it's just, that's a blessing that we have because, I mean, Minnesota, for example, they just legalized marijuana, recreational use. They passed extreme abortion legislation, attacks on the family and so forth, and it's just very troubling.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for our legislature standing up to the, whatever you want to call it, the woke ideology or the sick ideology that's going on. So
yeah, I did not end up in Romania fighting communism. I stayed here to fight it.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it when I was home. I saw there was a headline on the Star Tribune, the Minneapolis Star Tribune, that talked about socialists. I mean, just I mean there's literally socialists that are coming back, or they've always been there, I guess. So that's
it's definitely a tale of two states. I think that's another thing in addition to the Jones Act. I think we should explore at some point, John, is comparing and contrasting the two states. But look, we're on the long arc of it going all the way back to when Bill and I first met one another, of the conservative movement in Iowa, and where we came from to where we are now in the direction that we're on. It's not even that we're second to none in the country. It's what we've accomplished and where we are going is so far beyond what we thought possible at that time. And it should be the envy of the country. And now, Bill's moved from activist to lobbyist to, party official, and now actually getting to write these laws. And it's just exciting. Whatever your role is, whether you're a researcher, a historian, or a guy that just runs his mouth behind a microphone a couple times a week, or if you're, a state legislator, it is really exciting to be a part of this. So well said, John. So thank you, Bill.
Thanks.
All righty. Well, with that, we are out of time. And so thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget to like Bill Gustoff for Iowa on Facebook. And with that, we will see you next time.